It is my distinct pleasure to inaugurate today's signing ceremony and to extend a very warm welcome to our guests. My name is Verena Blechinger-Talcott. I'm Vice President for International Affairs at Freie Universität Berlin. And I am pleased to welcome His Excellency Jeremy Issacharoff, the Ambassador of the State of Israel in Germany in Berlin. Her Excellency Dr. Susanne Wasum-Reiner, German Ambassador to Israel, Professor Julia von Blumenthal, President of the European University Viadrina in Frankfurt-Oder and Chair of the Board of Trustees of the Selma Stern Center, Professor Dr. Sina Rauschenbach, current spokesperson of the Selma Stern Center's Board of Directors and representative of the University of Potsdam. And last but not least, Professor Oron Shagir, Vice President of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. The history of cooperation between Freie Universität and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem started to unfold within a few years of the latter's foundation. As early as 1957, students at Freie Universität, together with the rector, sent a letter to the president of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem with the aim of paving the way for academic cooperation between the two universities. They proposed a student exchange and dialogue that would incomparably enrich their academic work. It would take another few years for this cooperation to become a reality. Today, the two universities are closely linked through a strategic partnership which fosters synergies in research, teaching, and administration, and supports joint initiatives. The strategic partnership raised cooperation to a new level and has served as a model for the development of further such partnerships. Currently, more than 100 researchers from all disciplines in Berlin are active in joint research and teaching projects with colleagues in Jerusalem. The Selma Stern Center for Jewish Studies Berlin-Brandenburg is a network that bundles the tremendous potential of institutions involved in research into a sophisticated subject. It brings together scholars from 5 universities in Berlin and Brandenburg, a rabbinical college, and a research institute. Existing, often pioneering cooperative relationships are further developed and made visible to the world. The academic hub of Berlin benefits from such interdisciplinary and inter-university activities. The particular importance of the Selma Stern Center for Freie Universität Berlin consists in this very academic advancement through the networking of research and teaching beyond borders, be they disciplinary, weltanschaulich, or methodological. Freie Universität is involved in the center in various ways. It was our privilege to implement the initiative of Professors Rainer Kampling and Menachem Ben-Sasson to cement cooperation in the field of Jewish studies within the framework of our ongoing strategic partnership agreement. Many others have been involved in the implementation of the agreement we are signing today. On behalf of all of them, I would like to mention Hebrew University's Professor Uzi Rebun, who contributed significantly to the realization of the agreement last year, Dr. Monika Schertl, Executive Manager of the Selma Stern Center, Nora Jacobs from Freie Universität's International Department, and Professor Susanne Zepp, Academic Coordinator of the Strategic Partnership, and certainly an engine of this partnership. I am confident that the Memorandum of Understanding that the Selma Stern Center and Hebrew University are signing today will bring our partnership yet another significant step forward, leading to many new joint research initiatives, producing new synergies, and adding academic value for all partners in the Selma Stern Center's network. Thank you very much. And now I hand over to His Excellency Jeremy Issacharoff, the Ambassador of the State of Israel in Germany in Berlin.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and I'm delighted to be able to witness the signing of this MOU between the Selma Stern Center and Hebrew University. For me, this is a personal pleasure my son is studying in Hebrew University. We're very close to the Chancellor, Menachem Sasson, Ben Sasson. We're very great personal friends, and really this is a very special occasion. For me, strategic partnerships always in my career in the foreign ministry usually meant centrifuges, nuclear programs of Iran and missiles and things like that. But since I've been in Washington over the last 3 years, I've come to realize that one of the most important elements of the strategic partnership between Germany and Israel is actually the vast and considerable cooperation in the academic areas, advanced academic research, advanced scientific research between the two countries. As you all know, Israel and Germany only had diplomatic relations in 1965. And it was actually these relations in the areas of scientific cooperation, academic cooperation, that actually preceded diplomatic relations. And so I really see this as a tremendously important step that is among other very significant levels of cooperation between the two countries. I think this particular memorandum of understanding, commemorated from the Center, Selma Stone Center, is also being a very eminent historian who very much laid the foundation for German Jewish historiography. And I think that this type of work together with Hebrew U that will examine the relationship between the three monotheistic religions, the perspective of Sephardic Jews who left Spain in the 15th century, which is also personally important to me. My mother's family was from a Sephardi family, a very well-known Sephardi family, and I draw a tremendous amount of pride in that knowledge. And also, it's so incredibly important to learn about those that went before you, where they lived, what they did. I think it's something that this type of research can really enhance people's personal knowledge of their heritage. The third aspect will be about life in the diaspora, and then also the culture of remembrance. And I think that anyone who spent any period of time in Germany and has seen in the last years the most incredible impact that the culture of remembrance still plays pretty much on a daily, weekly level in Germany. As ambassador to Germany, there's hardly any time that goes by without the culture of remembrance being felt, providing a very great deal of clarity to the relationship, and in a very paradoxical way, strengthening that relationship very considerably. So I'm happy that this partnership is really going to take form. It's going to bring about a cooperation between 7 of the most important academic institutions in the Berlin-Brandenburg area and Hebrew University, which has such an incredible repertoire and background in Jewish history. And I really am very happy again that this is also an enterprise that will bring young Israeli and German students together. I have really seen that, to my mind, this is the most important investment that we can have, not only in our past, but also in our present and future relationship between the two countries. And I think that this is something that we have to, try and expand, and I think it'll be such a win-win situation on so many different levels. So I'm very happy to be here today. I'm delighted to see everyone there, and I wish that this memorandum of understanding, and I'm certain of it, will bring around tremendous amount of cooperation that can only fortify us on many different levels. Thank you again, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador, for your kind words. And I would now hand over the microphone to Her Excellency Dr. Susanne Wasum-Reiner, the German Ambassador to Israel in Tel Aviv, please.
Dear Vice President, Professor Blechinger-Talcott, Vice President, Professor Chagrier, dear Jeremy, Israel's ambassador in Berlin, dear Professor Blumenthal, dear Professor Rauschenbach. It is with great joy I join you in celebrating today's signing of the agreement between the Freie Universität Berlin and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, which embraces the Selma Stern Center for Jewish Studies Berlin-Brandenburg into the strategic partnership of these most distinguished institutions. Cooperation is the cornerstone of both scholarly and also political success. It was in the 1960s that German-Israeli scientific relations began, even before, long before, diplomatic relations were officially established. After the horrors of the Shoah, scientific cooperation paved the way for the rapprochement of Israel and Germany. Today, we are looking at a close and diverse network of encounters and cooperation between our two countries on all levels, between the governments and ministries, between universities and research institutes, and also between individual researchers in Germany and in Israel. We work together to achieve what we are unable to achieve alone. And through cooperation, bridges have been built over the abyss of history and among people between both our countries. The Freie Universität Berlin and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, one of the world's leading academic and research institutions, joined their forces in a strategic partnership already almost 10 years ago. The intensity and closeness of cooperation is far from accidental. Rather, it is the result of experience over decades and the awareness that chasms of history can only be bridged together in confidence and in dialogue. Knowledge and information from past generations are instrumental in ensuring that we keep cooperating. Within this superb strategic partnership of the Freie Universität Berlin and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, the Selma Stern Center find its best possible setting. As a collaborative project in the field of Jewish studies, the Selma Stern Center benefits from the unique characteristics and outstanding excellence of all its partners. The Institute for Jewish Studies at the Freie Universität Berlin, founded in 1963, was the first institute of its kind in Germany in the post-war period. The Technische Universität is home to the renowned Center for Research on Anti-Semitism. The University of Potsdam places its strong focus on Jewish studies and Jewish theology. The Abraham Geiger Kolleg and the Moses Mendelssohn Zentrum for Europäische Studien also contribute significantly with their specific fields of excellence. Cultural studies are taught and researched at Humboldt University Berlin. Literary aspects are in the focus of Europa-Universität Viadrina, Frankfurt, and with the Hochschule für Musik Franz Liszt in Weimar, the Selma Stern Center also covers the history of Jewish music. It is this diverse and first-class research what makes the Selma Stern Center so outstanding. Today, we are proudly celebrating that the Selma Stern Center has found its ideal partner with the Hebrew University. The memorandum, which will be signed today, creates a unique framework that will shape a new generation of the researchers in the field of Jewish studies in our two countries. This memorandum opens up a new page in the academic cooperation between Israel and Germany. It is a proof of what lies at the core of academic partnership, the facilitation of an encounter of people who are working together in trust towards transforming their shared existence. It is in this spirit of dialogue, expressed in Buber's sentence, "All actual life is encounter," that we celebrate today, this milestone in German-Israeli academic cooperation and a new era in the cooperation between Jerusalem and the science region of Berlin and Brandenburg. Allow me to express my sincere gratitude to all institutions involved and to all those who have worked with so much diligence and enthusiasm to pave the way for intensive and fruitful future cooperation. If we work together, we can achieve what we are unable to achieve alone. Thank you very much, Bechatzlacha, and my very best wishes.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ambassador, for your kind words. And I would now like to hand over the microphone to Professor Dr. Julia von Blumenthal, who is the president of the European University Viadrina in Frankfurt-Oder and the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Selma Zentrum. Frau von Blumenthal, bitte.
Excellencies, dear colleagues, it's a pleasure and an honor to witness today's online signing ceremony of the Memorandum of Understanding. I'm convinced that this Memorandum of Understanding will be the starting point for an even deeper collaboration between Hebrew University Jerusalem and the Selma Zentrum Berlin-Brandenburg. The German capital region Berlin-Brandenburg has an enormous variety of universities and research institutions. And the Selma Center acts as the junction of the widespread network that encompasses the entire region, a region characterized by a diverse Jewish history. The Alma Mater Viadrina was the first university in Brandenburg. It was founded in Frankfurt-Oder in 1506. In 1678, Frederick William, Elector of Brandenburg and Duke of Prussia, granted Gabriel and Tobias Moschowitz the right to study at the university as the first Jewish students. By the time the university, the old Viadrina, was dissolved and moved to the University of Breslau of Wrocław in 1811, it had produced eminent alumni, including Moses Salomon Gumperz, who completed his medical studies in 1721, and Marcus Eliezer Bloch, a medical doctor and naturalist. Bloch's outstanding collection of specimens was acquired after his death by the Prussian government and presented to the Academy of Science, and can now be seen in Berlin's Natural History Museums once we can reopen our museums. One of the nephews of the first doctoral students in medicine at the Viadrina was Aaron Samuel Gumperz, who became one of the protagonists of the Berlin Haskalah. A close friend of Moses Mendelssohn, Gumperz initiated Mendelssohn into the mathematical and natural sciences and the literary circles in Berlin. These are only a few examples from the early modern era of our research region, where cooperation and collaboration have always been important. However, this also demonstrates how productive the convergence of methods of historical comparison, cultural transfer studies, and the history of entanglement can be when it comes to a history of Europe that incorporates Jewish history with a strategic intention. For this reason too, it's a privilege for me as the chair of the Selma Center's board to witness today's ceremony. The center represents a unique range of theories, methods, and multiple perspectives in the humanities, which can help overcome isolated perspectives. By approaching a particular issue from various perspectives, the center aims to provide reliable interpretations and insights that do justice to the interrelation between the objects of study. Thanks to its innovative, highly interdisciplinary character, the center places particular emphasis on the way in which history, the humanities and cultural sciences approach the subject, as well as on fundamental intellectual, political, and religious questions that inspire Jewish life and thinking today, and have influenced it in the past. The interdisciplinary nature mirrors the network structure of the Research Institute. All disciplines of the humanities are represented, from theology to all philologies, from Jewish studies to law. The center is committed to implementing transdisciplinarity, and it does so through its annual meetings, conferences, workshops, summer schools, and a lecture series which addresses a wider public audience. The agreement we are signing today will make the center a hub for international research expertise and talent, and this is a very important step for the entire research region. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem is one of the leading universities of the world, producing unparalleled excellence in research, teaching, and study. The Hebrew University's world-renowned scholars have achieved extraordinary breakthroughs in many disciplines. And these accomplishments are reflected in the impressive number of competitive research grants obtained by its faculty. And finally, and for us importantly, the expertise in Jewish studies is unparalleled. The intention of this agreement is to establish the basis for closer cooperation. It also aims to promote academic initiatives that will reinforce joint research projects in the field of Jewish studies, preparing future actors in the development of our societies with a strong historical perspective. We would like to see an increase in concrete initiatives to fulfill these purposes. I congratulate all colleagues from the Selma Stern Center on joining hands with the colleagues from Hebrew University. The mission is aligned with that of the Selma Stern Center to create conditions and facilitate actions to improve cooperation between Jerusalem and the Berlin-Brandenburg research region. I'm really looking forward to see the future joint research initiatives grow and to see you, the colleagues, maybe sometime in person and not only online in this format. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor von Blumenthal. I would now turn the microphone over to Professor Dr. Sina Rauschenbach from Potsdam University, who's the current spokesperson of the Selma Stern Zentrum, for an introduction and a presentation of the center. Dr. Rauschenbach, please.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, Ambassador Issacharoff and Ambassador Dr. Wasum-Reiner, University President Professor von Blumenthal, and University Vice Presidents Professor Chagrier and Professor Blechinger-Talcott, dear colleagues, friends, and guests all over the world. As the spokesperson of the Selma Stern Center in this academic year 2020-21, it is my honor and pleasure to be part of this assignment ceremony today. Since its inauguration in 2012, the Selma Stern Center advances interdisciplinary research on all kinds of topics related to Jewish histories and cultures, both past and present, religious and secular. Over the last 8 years, it has become a wonderful place of international networking, inspiration, friendship, and exchange. I have joined the ZJS in 2014, and it has always belonged to those parts of my work that I would never want to miss. Today, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I want to express my gratitude and joy that the Hebrew University of Jerusalem has chosen the Selma Stern Center as one of its prime academic partners in the field of Jewish studies. We are well aware of the appreciation and the responsibility that this partnership carries. And we hope that this assignment will be the source for continuous inspiration for the travel of people and ideas between Israel and Germany, Jerusalem, Berlin, Potsdam, and Frankfurt Oder. We would now like to invite you to join us in watching our short film about the ZJS, so that you can see parts of our team who can't be here today due to the pandemic, but who are all watching and looking forward to fill this new assignment with life. Thank you very much.
Das Selma Stern Zentrum Jüdische Studien Berlin-Brandenburg ist 2012 gegründet worden, um inhaltlich und strukturell den verschiedenen Disziplinen der jüdischen Studien einen Raum zu geben und diese zusammenzuführen.
Das Zentrum ist eine universitäre akademische Einrichtung, die aber auch einen großen Beitrag zur gesellschaftlichen Aufklärung beiträgt, gerade in diesen Zeiten.
Getragen wird es von den 3 Berliner Universitäten, der Viadrina und der Universität Potsdam, und mit dabei sind das Abraham Geiger Kolleg und das Moses Mendelssohn Zentrum in Potsdam.
Durch die Existenz des Zentrums werden Kooperationsmöglichkeiten ins Bewusstsein gehoben, die sonst möglicherweise nicht wahrgenommen würden. Und durch Begegnungen am Zentrum können Dialoge entstehen, die zu lehrstuhlübergreifenden Initiativen führen.
Wir haben am Zentrum verschiedene Forschungsprojekte, wir haben eine Graduiertenschule und wir haben jetzt in der zweiten Förderphase neu eine Postdoktorandenakademie begründet.
Und diese 5 Forschungsgruppen sind das monotheistische Dreieck. Da steht das Verhältnis zwischen Judentum, Christentum und Islam im Zentrum. Es gibt 2 Forschungsgruppen zur jüdischen Diaspora, von denen die eine eher literaturwissenschaftlich arbeitet, die andere eher geschichtswissenschaftlich. Es gibt eine Gruppe zur Memorialgeschichte der Shoah und eine 5. Gruppe zu den sephardischen Perspektiven.
Ein Highlight am Zentrum sind sicherlich die zahlreichen Workshops und Konferenzen. Und so hat mir persönlich das Zentrum dabei geholfen, Workshops zu organisieren und hierfür internationale Wissenschaftlerinnen und Wissenschaftler einzuladen, um unter anderem auch Arbeitsergebnisse meiner Dissertation zu diskutieren.
Mein Hauptbezug zum Zentrum besteht in meiner Mitarbeit an der Encyclopedia of Jewish Christian Relations, ein großes Forschungsprojekt, das durch das Zentrum gefördert wird, an dem namhafte Professoren der Partneruniversitäten mitarbeiten und das auch eine internationale Ausstrahlung hat, in dem weitere Mitarbeitende aus aller Welt zu dieser Enzyklopädie beitragen werden.
Mir gefällt am Selma Sternzentrum besonders gut, dass es ein so großes Kollegium gibt. Es gibt eine wahnsinnig breit aufgestellte Expertise. Es gibt immer jemanden, der einem hilft, nochmal neue Wege zu beschreiten, nochmal um die Ecke zu denken. Und was mir am meisten gefallen hat, ist eigentlich, dass es so viele nette Menschen gibt, dass man nicht alleine am Schreibtisch sitzen muss als Wissenschaftler.
Das Zentrum trägt wesentlich zur Sichtbarkeit der jüdischen Studien in der Region Berlin-Brandenburg bei. Stärker von außen gedacht treten die jüdischen Studien aber auch auf internationaler Ebene erst auf diese Weise hervor. Es gibt eine Vielzahl einzelner Kooperationen, sicherlich, aber ich glaube, dass erst durch die Zusammenführung der unterschiedlichen Studienfelder im Zentrum Berlin-Brandenburg auch als Zentrum der jüdischen Studien wahrgenommen wird.
Berlin-Brandenburg war historisch einer der wichtigsten Orte für das Judentum schon im 19. Jahrhundert und Anfang des 20. Jahrhunderts und ist es erneut geworden. Und gleichzeitig ist es auch eines der wichtigsten Zentren für die historische Erforschung sowohl der Shoah als auch der deutsch-jüdischen Kultur und Geschichte. Und beides versuchen wir hier im Zentrum miteinander zu verbinden.
Gerade in dieser Stadt und in dieser Region ein solches Zentrum, das den jüdischen Studien gewidmet ist, zu errichten, ist ein deutliches Zeichen, wenn man daran denkt, welche Rolle diese Stadt und diese Region gespielt hat in der Geschichte. Das heißt, wir leisten einen deutlichen Beitrag zur Hochschulpolitik der Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
Mein Wunsch für das Zentrum ist, dass die Zusammenarbeit intern weiter gestärkt wird und dass die Relevanz dieser Arbeit insbesondere in Bezug auf interreligiöse Beziehungen in Politik und Gesellschaft wirklich ernst genommen wird.
Zu sein.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think now I hand over the microphone, and I'm pleased to ask my colleague from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Professor Dr. Oron Shagrir, who's Vice President of the Hebrew University. And Oron, please, could you give your speech?
Thank you, Verena. Good morning, Your Excellency, Ambassador Jeremy Sakharov, Your Excellency, Ambassador Dr. Susanne Bassum-Reiner, dear Professor Verena Blechinger-Talco, dear Professor Julia von Blumenthal, dear Professor Zina Rauschenbach. On behalf of the Hebrew University and with me, I see the Dean of Humanities, Professor Michael Segal, and Professor Uzi Rebhorn driving his car, and Alma Lessing, who is the Director of International Partners. So on behalf of all of us, I am very happy to hereby convey our enthusiastic support for this new Berlin-Jerusalem partnership in Jewish studies, which brings together the Selma Stern Center in Berlin-Brandenburg with the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. The Selma Stern Center is composed of a rich and diverse network of the 7 main actors in the field of Jewish studies in Berlin-Brandenburg, namely our strategic partner, the Freie Universität Berlin, Humboldt University zu Berlin, Technical University Berlin, the University of Potsdam, the European University via Dorina, the Abraham Geiger College, the Moses Mendelssohn Center for European Jewish Studies in Potsdam, as well as the Liszt School of Music in Weimar. The Hebrew University is proud of its strong and long-standing tradition of an expertise in Jewish studies covering a wide range of disciplines such as Bible studies, Jewish thought, Talmud and Halacha, Jewish history, Hebrew language and literature, as well as Jewish education. The Hebrew University is a leading research university with international acclaim and the world's foremost center for Jewish studies. Our academic research is facilitated by an abundance of archival materials at various libraries and centers on Mount Scopus. In addition, Jerusalem is home to the Israel Institute for Advanced Studies, visited by many international scholars every year, the Central Archives for the History of the Jewish People, the Central Zionist Archives, Yad Vashem, and of course the National Library of Israel and its enormous repositories of manuscripts and art collections, which is due to move to its new campus in 2021. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem is especially proud that the new cooperation with the Selma Stern Center for Jewish Studies Berlin-Brandenburg is now incorporated into our strategic partnership with the Freie Universität Berlin, enjoying on the one hand the protective and nurturing umbrella of our long-standing and successful scientific relations, and on the other hand serving as a creative platform for future innovative interinstitutional collaborations in the field of Jewish studies between our 2 universities and beyond. We are very much looking forward to deepen and expand Hebrew University's collaboration with the Freie Universität Berlin and the Selma Stern Center to provide scholars and students with an additional dimension of international partnerships, to create an interinstitutional network for future generations of researchers, and to build an international community of outstanding scholars in Jewish studies. We envision fruitful exchanges of faculty members, doctoral and postdoctoral students, joint research projects and conferences on a variety of topics within the field of Jewish studies. I would like to express our sincere thanks and appreciation to our close strategic partner, Freie Universität Berlin, to its president, Professor Günther Ziegler, for making the realization of this agreement possible, as well as to all who helped shaping and moving forward the implementation of this agreement. Professor Verena Blechinger-Talcott, and Verena, you should come visit us in Jerusalem very soon. Professor Rainer Kampling, Professor Susanne Zepp, Professor Menachem Ben-Sasson, and Professor Uzi Rebhon. Thank you all, and be'atzlacha.
Thank you so much, Oron, for your kind words. And as a few words of farewell, I would just like to express one more time that since its foundation, Freie Universität has been committed to ensuring that the German past is not forgotten. The students and academics who brought about its foundation in 1948 wanted to learn, teach, and conduct research free from political influence. With this founding history, Freie Universität continues to carry the concepts of justice, truth, and freedom in its seal to this day. It is against this background that we can understand how Freie Universität could become the academic home of scholars like Jakob Taubes, as well as Ernst Fraenkel, Richard Löwenthal or Peter Sondi as after the rupture of civilization. Freie Universität's particular internationality right from the start is another important factor. Thus, it is an institutional anchor for the Selma Stern Center, offering stability in the form, content, and degree of its internationality. With this in mind, we look forward to further cooperation between the participating institutions. I would like to take this moment to thank all those involved for their excellent work. The integrative research agenda of the Selma Stern Center reflects the conviction of the Freie Universität that scientific innovation in social responsibility can best be reached in dialogue across borders. And in this spirit, we wish everyone a successful continuation of their work, and we wish the Selma Stern Center and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in this framework wonderful and fruitful collaboration in the years to come. Thank you so much, everyone. And I think this would conclude the event. Thank you very, very much for coming and for all your support. And now it's up to the center to continue its work in a wide and lively international framework. Thank you.